Welcome, I'm Grace. Tonight the world stays outside, and you stay here in this peaceful sanctuary I've created just for you. If you're ready, let our journey begin. The sun is beginning its slow, graceful descent toward the jagged line of the distant mountains, casting a long, amber glow across the world. You are walking along a narrow, winding path that smells of dried pine needles and the sweet, wild scent of damp earth. Every step you take produces a soft, rhythmic crunch beneath your boots, a sound that feels grounded and real in a world that often feels too fast. Crunch, crunch. The air is perfectly balanced, neither too warm nor too cold, and it carries the promise of a quiet, still evening. As you move through the trees, the light filters through the canopy in dusty, golden shafts, illuminating the tiny gnats dancing in the air and the vibrant, mossy greens of the ancient bark. Soon, the trees begin to thin, and the view opens up to reveal the lake. It is a vast, liquid mirror, stretched out before you in shades of deep sapphire and shimmering gold. The water is so still that it seems to be holding its breath, waiting for the night to arrive. You reach a small, secluded clearing right at the water's edge, a place that feels as though it was created specifically for this moment of solitude. You stop for a moment, standing perfectly still, and simply breathe. You fill your lungs with the clean, crisp lake air, feeling the tension in your shoulders begin to dissolve like sugar in tea. The silence here is not empty. It is full of life. The distant, lonely call of a loon, the soft lap of a tiny wave against a pebble, and the gentle rustle of the reeds swaying in the dying breeze. You slowly slip the heavy backpack from your shoulders, feeling a physical sense of relief as the weight leaves your body. You set it down on a flat, sun-warmed rock, the fabric making a soft, muffled sound as it settles. Your body feels light, almost buoyant, as you stretch your arms toward the sky, reaching for the fading light. The world feels incredibly wide here, the horizon stretching out endlessly, and for the first time in a long time, you feel no pressure to be anywhere else. There are no clocks here, no deadlines, only the natural rhythm of the sun and the water. The sky is changing by the second now. The brilliant gold is deepening into a rich, burnt orange, with streaks of violet and soft rose painting the clouds near the horizon. The reflection on the lake is so perfect that it's hard to tell where the water ends and the sky begins. It is a world of doubles, two suns, two sets of mountains, two versions of peace. You walk toward the water's edge, the ground beneath your feet turning from soft soil to smooth, water-worn stones. You bend down and dip your fingers into the lake. The water is surprisingly warm, holding on to the heat of the day like a secret. Small ripples emanate from your touch, distorting the reflection of the clouds and sending tiny, rhythmic pulses toward the shore. You find a perfect spot to sit, a weather-beaten log that has been smoothed by years of sun and rain. It feels solid and reliable beneath you. You sit down, resting your hands on your knees, and watch the final minutes of the day unfold. The shadows are lengthening now, stretching long, thin fingers across the clearing. The light on the mountains across the water is turning a deep, majestic purple, and the first faint star begins to twinkle just above the highest peak. It is the evening star, a silent herald of the stillness to come. There is a profound sense of preparation in the air. The birds have finished their evening songs, and the forest is settling into a quiet, watchful state. You feel yourself settling, too. Your heartbeat is slowing, finding a steady, calm pace that matches the slow lap of the water. Lap. Hush. Lap. Hush. You close your eyes for a moment, listening to the layers of sound, the distant hum of insects, the soft sigh of the wind in the pine needles, and the internal quiet that is finally starting to grow within you. You are no longer an outsider looking in. You are becoming a part of the landscape. The orange light is fading into a dusty, twilight blue. The warmth of the sun is being replaced by a cool, refreshing evening air that smells of pine resin and cold water. You reach for your light jacket. The sound of the zipper sharp, clean click in the silence. As you pull it on, you feel a sense of cozy enclosure, like a bird tucking its wings against the night. You look around your little clearing, noticing the dark, textured bark of the trees and the way the tall grass at the water's edge seems to shimmer in the low light. It is time to begin the evening ritual, before the light vanishes completely. You want to establish your circle of warmth. You stand up from your log, feeling the quiet energy of the twilight guiding your movements. There is no rush. Every action can be slow, deliberate, and peaceful. You look at the center of the clearing, where a small ring of stones waits for a fire. You feel a sense of anticipation, not a nervous energy, but a deep, satisfying knowledge that soon you will be sitting by the flames, watching the sparks fly up toward the velvet sky. But for now, you just stand there for one last minute, watching the very last sliver of the sun disappear behind the mountain. The sky turns a deep, bruised indigo, and the silence deepens even further. The day is over, and the night is welcoming you with open arms. You are safe. You are alone. And you are exactly where you belong. Beneath the first stars, by the side of the mirror lake. The twilight has deepened into a rich, velvet indigo, and the air has taken on a crisp, invigorating chill that makes the thought of a fire feel like a warm embrace. You move slowly, your movements deliberate and mindful. As you begin to gather the materials for your hearth, you walk back toward the edge of the tree line, where the shadows of the pines are long and soft. You bend down, feeling the cool, damp grass against your palms as you reach for the first pieces of kindling. These are the tiny, snap-dry twigs that have fallen from the lower branches. They feel light as feathers in your hands, dry and brittle, ready to surrender to the flame. Snap! The sound of a dry branch breaking in the silence is sharp and satisfying. A clean report that echoes faintly off the surface of the still lake. You collect a handful of these small offerings, feeling their rough, textured bark against your skin. Some were covered in a thin, silver layer of lichen that feels like soft paper. Others are smooth and skeletal, stripped bare by the wind. You carry them back to the stone circle at the center of your clearing, kneeling on the earth, feeling the solid, ancient ground beneath your knees. This is a ritual as old as time itself, and you perform it with a sense of quiet reverence. Next, you reach for the medium-sized branches, but finger-thick wood that will provide the structure for your fire. You pick up a piece of fallen birch, its bark peeling in light, papery curls that catch the faint starlight. You know that this bark is nature's own fire starter, filled with oils that will burn bright and hot. You tear a small strip of it, listening to the delicate, tearing sound it makes. Crinkle. Rip. It smells of winter and rain, a scent that is both sharp and comforting. You arrange the wood in a small, precise teepee shape, leaving enough space for the air to breathe, for the fire to grow. Your hands move with a graceful rhythm, sorting through the pile of wood you gathered earlier. You find the larger clogs, thick, heavy pieces of pine and cedar that will burn for hours. You feel the weight of them in your arms, a solid, reassuring mass. You can smell the sap inside them, a sticky, sweet fragrance that reminds you of deep forests and ancient memories. You set these aside, placing them just outside the stone ring, ready to be fed to the flames once the fire has found its strength. Every action is a meditation, every movement a way of slowing down the world. Now comes the moment of the first spark. You reach into your pocket and pull out your matches, the small, rectangular box feeling familiar and warm in your hand. You take out a single match, its red tip a tiny beacon in the darkness. You strike it against the side of the box. Sesh tink. A sudden, brilliant flare of orange light erupts, illuminating your hands and the immediate circle of stones. The smell of sulfur and wood smoke hits your senses, a sharp, nostalgic scent that signals the beginning of the transformation. You carefully touch the flame to the thin curls of birch bark at the base of your wood pile. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. And then, a tiny, blue and orange lick of flame takes hold. It dances along the edge of the bark, eating into the white paper, turning it black and curled. You watch, captivated, as the fire begins to climb. It reaches for the smallest twigs, which begin to hiss and pop as the moisture inside them escapes. Snap, crackle, pop. The sounds are tiny and musical, like the applause of a miniature audience. The fire is small, fragile, like a new life, and you cup your hands around it to shield it from the soft evening breeze. Slowly the heat begins to radiate outward. You feel it first on your fingertips, then on your face, a gentle, pulsing warmth that pushes back the chill of the night. The fire grows stronger, the small twigs turning into glowing, orange skeletons that crumble into a bed of embers. You add a few of the larger branches, watching as the flames wrap around them in a hungry, golden embrace. The light is no longer a tiny spark. It is a living, breathing entity, casting long, flickering shadows that dance across the clearing and play upon the dark trunks of the trees. You sit back on your heels, watching the transformation of wood into light. The center of the fire is a deep, brilliant white, fading into shades of lemon yellow, sunset orange, and a soft, smoky blue at the very edges of the flames. The smoke rises in a straight, silver ribbon toward the stars, carrying with it the scent of burning cedar and the essence of the forest. It is a smell that feels like home, like safety, like 1,000 nights spent under the open sky. The lake, just a few feet away, catches the reflection of the fire. A path of dancing, liquid gold stretches out across the dark water. rippling gently with every tiny movement of the surface. It is as if the fire has a twin in the depths of the lake. Two sources of light communicating in a language of silence and shadow. The contrast between the intense, crackling heat of the fire and the vast, cold stillness of the water is mesmerizing. It anchors you in the present moment, making everything else, the world, the city, the noise, feel like a dream from another life. You reach for one of the large logs and place it carefully on top of the flames. There is a soft, heavy thud as it settles, followed by a sudden shower of sparks that spiral up into the air. They look like tiny, fleeting stars, rising to join their cousins in the heavens before vanishing into the dark. You watch them until the last one disappears, leaving your eyes to readjust to the glowing heart of the fire. You feel a deep, primal sense of satisfaction. You have built a sanctuary. You have created light in the darkness. And now, you are ready to simply be. The fire has found its rhythm now. A steady, confident pulse of orange and gold that seems to breathe in time with the forest. You reach for your heavy metal camping mug, feeling its cool, smooth surface against your palm before you pour the hot, steaming tea you prepared. The scent of wild mint and honey rises in a fragrant cloud, mingling with the earthy aroma of the wood smoke. You wrap both hands around the mug, letting the intense heat seep into your fingers. A warmth that feels like it's traveling straight to your heart. You take a slow, careful sip, and as the liquid warms your throat, you turn your gaze away from the flames and toward the lake. The water has undergone a complete transformation. The slight ripples of twilight have vanished, leaving the surface so flat, so perfectly still, that it no longer looks like water at all. It has become a vast, liquid mirror of polished obsidian, reflecting the heavens with such terrifying clarity that you feel as though you are sitting at the edge of the universe itself. The stars are not just above you, they are beneath you. Millions of silver pinpricks of light shimmering in the depths of the lake. The Milky Way stretches across the center of the water like a ghostly, luminous bridge. And for a moment, the world feels weightless, floating in a sea of infinite stars. You lean back against your log, feeling the sturdy, rough bark through your jacket, and you let the silence of the lake wash over you. It is a silence so profound it has a texture, like heavy silk. There is no wind to rustle the leaves, no distant hum of traffic, only the soft, occasional tink of your mug and the low, melodic murmur of the fire. You watch a single fallen leaf drift onto the water's surface. It doesn't sink. It simply rests there, a tiny, dark ship on a frozen sea, sending out one solitary, perfect ripple that travels endlessly toward the far shore. Lap. Hush. The sound is so faint you almost feel it in your bones rather than hear it with your ears. Your eyes drift upward to the actual sky, and you are struck by the sheer scale of the night. Without the glare of city lights, the stars are blindingly bright, some pulsing with a cold, blue energy, others glowing with a soft, steady amber. You find the constellations you know, their ancient shapes feeling like old friends visiting you in the wilderness. They move with a slow, majestic inevitability, reminding you that while your life is full of motion and noise, the universe is built on a foundation of stillness and order. You feel small, but not insignificant. You feel like a necessary part of this grand, silent design. The heat from the fire is a constant, reassuring presence on your face and chest, while your back feels the gentle, bracing chill of the night air. This balance of hot and cold makes you feel intensely alive, intensely present. You watch the way the firelight catches the very edge of the water, illuminating the smooth, wet stones just beneath the surface. They look like jewels, rubies and camber glowing in the dark depths. A small fish breaks the surface far out in the center of the lake. A sudden, silver splash that echoes like a bell in the quiet. And then the mirror heals itself, the water returning to its impossible, glass-like state. You take another sip of your tea, the honey coating your tongue, the warmth spreading through your chest. You feel a sense of profound gratitude for this moment of absolute peace. Here, by the mirror lake, there is nothing to solve, nothing to fix, and nothing to fear. The water is a witness to your stillness, and the stars are a witness to your breath. You are tucked into the folds of the earth, safe, warm, and perfectly, beautifully alone. The night is no longer a dark void. It is a sanctuary, and you are its only inhabitant. The fire is at the peak of its life now, a roaring, vibrant sun that has claimed the center of your world. You have stopped thinking about the time, stopped thinking about the world outside the reach of this amber glow. There is only the fire, and the way it commands the darkness. The logs you placed earlier have surrendered to the heat, their centers glowing with an intense, incandescent white that looks like the surface of a distant star. Deep inside the wood, the sap is boiling and singing, producing a series of sharp, rhythmic pops that echo like tiny firecrackers against the stillness of the lake. Snap, crackle, hiss. You find your gaze pulled into the heart of the flames, unable to look away. The fire is a living, shifting kaleidoscope of shapes and stories. One moment, you see golden birds rising from the embers, their wings made of sparks. And the next, you see flowing rivers of molten orange cascading over the charred ridges of the logs. It is a primal, ancient cinema, and your mind is the only audience. Your thoughts, which usually race like the wind, have slowed to the pace of a falling ember. Each worry that felt so heavy hours ago now seems to drift into the flames, turning into light, turning into ash, turning into nothing. Beyond the circle of the fire, the shadows have become alive. The light of the dancing flames hits the rough, vertical trunks of the surrounding pines, creating a forest of giants that seem to sway and move in time with the fire. The shadows are long, reaching, and liquid, stretching across the ground and then retracting in a heartbeat. It feels as though the forest itself is leaning in, drawn to the warmth you have created. A silent circle of elders watching over your peace. The contrast is hypnotic though bright, frantic energy of the fire in the center, and the vast, velvet stillness of the darkness that begins just a few feet behind you. You feel a deep, physical connection to the earth beneath you, through the soles of your boots and the weight of your body on the log. You can almost feel the slow, steady pulse of the ground. It is a feeling of being completely held, of being safe in a way that only nature can provide. The heat from the fire is now so intense it feels like a physical presence, A warm blanket that covers your knees and chest, making your skin tingle with a pleasant, radiant glow. You close your eyes for a moment, and the orange light stays with you. A sun behind your eyelids that warms your very spirit. Inside the fire, a log shifts, settling further into the bed of glowing coals with a soft, metallic clink. A fresh cloud of sparks erupts. Thousands of tiny, golden fireflies spiraling upward. They dance in the rising heat, higher and higher, until they vanish into the indigo void where the stars wait for them. You follow their path with your eyes, feeling your spirit rise with them, light and free. The world of responsibilities, of noise, of expectations, has completely dissolved. There is only the warmth, the scent of cedar, and the rhythmic breath of the night. The scent has reached its most intoxicating stage. The sweet, resinous smell of the pine wood is mixing with the dry, clean aroma of the cooling lake. It is a fragrance that clears your head and settles your soul. You take a deep, slow breath, and you can almost taste the wood smoke on the air. It is the smell of survival, the smell of sanctuary, the smell of a night that will never be forgotten. You are drifting in a state of wakeful sleep, a meditative trance where the only reality is the flickering light and the sound of the crackling wood. You reach out with a stick and gently nudge a stray coal back into the center of the ring. The feeling of the wood in your hand, the resistance of the ash, it all feels incredibly significant. You are the keeper of the flame, the architect of this small, glowing world. The lake behind you remains a silent, black mirror, reflecting the fire back to you in a never-ending cycle of light. You are centered, you are calm, and you are ready to let the night take you deeper into its velvet embrace. The air has taken on a new, sharper edge as the night moves toward its most silent hour. A cold that feels clean and ancient. It is a chill that doesn't bite, but rather invites you to seek the sanctuary of your own warmth. You reach for the thick, wool-lined blanket resting on the log beside you, and as you shake it out, the sound of the heavy fabric moving through the air is a soft, muffled thump. You wrap it tightly around your shoulders, feeling the immediate, cozy weight of the wool against your back. The contrast is divine, the embracing, starlit cold on your face, and the intense, trapped heat of the blanket and the fire against your body. You pull it higher, until the scent of the wool, faint and earthy, mixes with the fading aroma of your mint tea. You look up, and for a moment, your breath catches in your throat. The sky has reached its full, majestic glory. The Milky Way is no longer just a faint smudge of light. It has become a colossal, glowing river of silver dust and distant suns, cascading across the zenith of the heavens. It looks like a path made of diamonds, a celestial road that leads into the very heart of the mystery of existence. The stars are so dense, so bright, that they seem to be vibrating with a silent, cosmic energy. You feel as though you are sitting at the bottom of a deep, crystal clear ocean, looking up at the shimmering surface of another world. The fire has begun to change. The high, dancing flames of the earlier hour have settled into a deep, steady, pulsating glow. The logs have crumbled into a magnificent bed of embers, thousands of glowing, ruby red jewels that breathe with a light that seems to come from within the earth itself. Every few seconds, a small pocket of gas inside a coal ignites, producing a tiny blue flare that looks like a ghost dancing on the surface of the sun. The heat from these embers is different. It is softer, more penetrating, a radiant warmth that settles into your bones and tells them they are safe to rest. Breathe in, light. Breathe out, shadow. You lean your head back against the rough, supportive trunk of the pine tree behind you, feeling the solid strength of the wood through your blanket. You are perfectly rattled between the earth and the stars. In this vast, velvet darkness, the concept of time has completely vanished. There is no tomorrow. There is no yesterday. There is only the rhythmic pulse of the fire and the slow, eternal wheeling of the constellations above. You feel an overwhelming sense of belonging, a feeling that you are exactly where you are meant to be in the grand tapestry of the universe. You are a small, warm point of consciousness in a cold, beautiful infinity. The lake has become a dark, bottomless void, its surface invisible now except for the perfect, unwavering reflections of the brightest stars. It is a double infinity, a mirror that has swallowed the world. The silence is so absolute that you can hear the soft, rhythmic thump-thump, thump-thump of your own heart, a sound that feels in perfect harmony with the slow, steady crackle of the dying wood. You are sinking deeper into the folds of the blanket, your limbs feeling heavy and languid, as if the gravity of the earth is gently pulling you down into its embrace. You are ready to surrender, ready to let go of the last threads of the waking world. A lone owl calls out from the deep forest, a soft, haunting pooh that echoes across the water like a secret shared between friends. It is a sound of the night, a sound of the wild, and it feels like a final, peaceful lullaby. You close your eyes for a long, slow minute, and even behind your lids, you can still see the ghostly afterimage of the glowing embers. A warm, pulsating red that guides you toward the shore of sleep. You are safe. You are warm. And the entire universe is watching over you. The world has reached its most sacred, silent state. The fire has completed its grand transformation. No longer a roaring beast of light, but a soft, breathing bed of silver ash and pulsing crimson embers. The high, flickering flames have vanished, leaving behind a deep, steady heat that feels like the very heartbeat of the earth itself. You watch a single, glowing coal as it slowly turns from a brilliant ruby to a soft, ghostly gray, its light fading so gradually that it seems to be sinking into a deep, dreamless sleep of its own. Hush! Hush! The sound is no longer a crackle. It is a whisper, a final, secret word shared between the wood and the night. Your body feels incredibly heavy, weighted down by 1,000 layers of peace. Your legs are long and relaxed. Your arms are folded comfortably within the warmth of your wool blanket, and your head is resting perfectly against the ancient, reliable bark of the tree. You are a part of the landscape now, no different from the stones or the sleeping pines. The boundaries of yourself have dissolved, blurred by the velvet darkness and the hypnotic rhythm of the lake. Every breath you take is slow, effortless, and deep, pulling in the cool, pine-scented air and releasing every last lingering thought into the starlight. The lake is a silent guardian, its dark waters holding the reflections of 1 billion years of stars. It is a reservoir of stillness, and you are drinking from its edge. You feel a profound sense of security, a knowledge that you are being watched over by the vast, indifferent, but beautiful universe. The owl has fallen silent. The wind has disappeared, and the only sound left is the faint, rhythmic pulse of your own existence. You are drifting now, floating on the surface of a soft, dark ocean of consciousness, where the waves are made of silk and the currents are made of dreams. The embers give one last, tiny take, a sound like a distant silver bell, signaling that the work of the night is done. The warmth is still there, a lingering, radiant memory in the air. But the light is almost gone. You close your eyes, not because you have to, but because they are too heavy to stay open any longer. Behind your lids, the world is a soft, indigo void, warm and welcoming. You are no longer you. You are the breath of the forest. You are the reflection on the water. You are the spark that returned to the sky. You sink further into the blanket, feeling the soft, fuzzy texture against your cheek. It feels like a cocoon, a safe, secret place where the world cannot reach you. The chaos of the modern world that you left behind is now a million miles away, a fading echo from a dream you can no longer remember. There is only this moment, this breath, this absolute, perfect, starlit peace. You are sinking deeper and deeper into the soft, waiting arms of the night. Sleep now. The stars will keep watch. The lake will remain still. The earth will hold you tight. Sleep. Sleep. Sleep.